the more connected your consciousness is with the universal consciousness, the further you can see. And when we say, oh, I had a vision of the divine or something, basically what we are seeing is I managed to bridge, or sadhak, I don't mean I in this instance, managed to bridge that physical gap that might have existed at that point in time. And your state of consciousness is you could see something at such a vast distance as if it's happening right in front of your very eyes. So her question actually is a good one. It may seem otherwise to you, but it's actually a good one. She says, or she said that one time she was meditating and on her various chakras. And when she arrived perhaps near Agya chakra and went above or at that chakra, her eyes were closed, but she actually felt her eyes were open. And it was almost like an experience where she could see, even though she well knew her eyes were closed. Now, it's a very beautiful experience. I've had this experience a few thousand times. And I remember going through a similar thought process when I first had it, which probably was around 20 years ago, or maybe 22. So what happens, some of you may have also experienced it, that you are meditating, your eyes are closed, but you can almost clearly see what's in front. So while I will try to explain this, there is no real explanation for this phenomenon. What does happen, perhaps, there comes a moment in time when there is a cusp of superconscious state and your normal conscious state. And when you're at that cusp, for a brief period of time, it becomes immaterial what your body is perceiving through the eyes. The perception expands beyond your body. The perception of your consciousness goes a step above or out of the perception of the five senses. And we have the concept of siddhis. We also have the concept of upasiddhis, auxiliary powers. Although the word siddhi is normally meant to say that something supernatural, some superpower that you may have, but siddhi also means success. So repeatedly when in, for example, Bhagavad Gita, the word siddha or siddhi is used, it means success in something. But here in this context, I'm saying siddhi being a power that you have that ordinarily we discover others don't have, or they can't demonstrate, or they can't put it to use. So upasiddhi, two of them are called Doordarshan, which used to be a TV channel as well, as you know, and Durshravan. So what happens when you get the Doordarshan Siddhi, you are able to see with your eyes closed. Now here is something to think about. If your eyes are closed, if you are seeing even a few meters away, that's also quite a miracle, versus you seeing a few thousand kilometers away. Because if the eyes are closed, then clearly I'm not using my eyes to see something. I have tapped into some other perception, some other state of consciousness that is helping me see beyond that. And that comes when the mind starts to attain a state of equanimity, equilibrium, stability with mindfulness and alertness. You start to hear distant sounds, and you start to see distant visions. If you have with you a pair of binoculars, you can see a few hundred meters away, or maybe even half a kilometer away or more. If you have a terrestrial telescope, you can see even beyond. So, same thing happens the more connected your consciousness is with the universal consciousness, the further you can see. And when we say, oh, I had a vision of the divine or something, basically what we are seeing is I managed to bridge, or sadhak, I don't mean I in this instance, managed to bridge that physical gap that might have existed at that point in time. And your state of consciousness is you could see something at such a vast distance as if it's happening right in front of your very eyes. And as you master the ability of the mind, dur shravan, like distant hearing, means you start to get more control over it. Earlier, it would be all just gibberish. You can't make heads from tails. You don't know what these sounds are. They may be all mixed up, and so on. But as you maintain that perfect alertness and mindfulness, you actually are able to hear things that other people are not hearing. And at times, I'm almost reluctant to say this because it sends the wrong message. Then people think the outcome of a good sadhana would be that, which it isn't. And it usually won't be. But from my own experience, you can actually hear down to the last word what somebody was saying at a certain time a few thousand miles away. So what was that? I don't really know. Can it happen all the time? Probably not, unless you have nothing else to do and you're just sitting. Maybe a consciousness operator, plug it in here, plug it there. Okay, sir, you're online, and something like that. But it's a beautiful experience, but it's just that, an experience. It's a tiny indication that things are potentially moving in the right direction. And it's a serious reminder to not be distracted and to pursue and to push with your meditation.